You need intellectual capital. Europe is deep and broad in science and technology. You need consumption, what we call offtake. EU has obviously lots of companies, lots of startups. We're working with startups, AI startups all over Europe, in all the every single industry, from healthcare to financial services to manufacturing and robotics, autonomous vehicles. So you need offtake. The only thing that you need after that is land, power, and shell, and you got plenty of that. You know, here in France, it's the home of nuclear energy and carbon-free nuclear energy, and so there's plenty of. And President Macron was telling me yesterday that France actually exports energy. Instead of exporting energy, you could export AI. And so I think all the pieces of the puzzle are here. You got to take advantage of it.
And for your business as well, Jensen, as you assess the addressable market here in Europe, we know there's been some lost revenue in China, but how big an opportunity from a business perspective does Europe present for Nvidia?
China has no relationship to Europe. Europe is a market all by itself, and it deserves to be a great market all by itself, independent of anything else. And intelligence is the foundational layer of every industry. And so it stands to reason that long-term intelligence will be the size of the GDP of each region. And therefore, in total, EU is going to be a very large market for AI.
Yeah, and in terms of robotics, AV, these are some of these future growth areas as well. When do we start to see robotics, AV on a large scale?
This is going to be the decade of AV, robotics, autonomous machines.
And just a final one, Jensen. China, how are you assessing the progress there? We had the Huawei CEO come out the other day, try to downplay some of the progress being made on the chip front. What is your assessment of the chip side of the equation in China and the AI model and software side of the equation in China as well, and how they're progressing?
Our technology is a generation ahead of theirs. However, the important thing to remember is that AI is a parallel problem. If each one of the computers are not as capable, just have more computers. And what he's saying is that in China, they have plenty of energy. They'll just use more chips. And so in a lot of ways, he was saying that China's technology is good enough for China. And if the United States doesn't want to participate in China, Huawei's got China covered, and Huawei's got everybody else covered.
And there's still a big market you're missing out on, still feel, if you can't get let back in?
Well, the important thing about China is both the business is important, but strategically it's even more important that the American technology stack is what AI developers around the world builds on. If we want the American technology stack to win around the world, then giving up 50% of the world's AI researchers is not sensible. And so that's the most important part strategically. Where AI developers develop their technology, it will run best on that technology. And so over time, as AI diffuses around the world, we are not alone. The United States is not alone. When China starts to aggressively diffuse their AI technology, so long as all the AI developers are in China, I think China stack is going to win. And so we just have to be mindful of near-term actions on long-term unintended consequences. And it's our job, it's my job to inform the administration on the nature of our technology and the dynamics of our industry. And then after that is, to support our president, and he knows what he's doing. He has a game plan. I trust him, and we'll support him the best we can.